Well, hello there, and welcome back to another Pokemon Scarlet video. Last time, we did some more legendary captures. We got ourselves a Meloetta, a Cupfu, and another legendary, I forgot. And today we're gonna continue gathering the legendaries from, or the legendaries that are unlocked from the, Blueberry Academy stuff, the DLC. So we're capturing more of those DLC legendaries. So yes, if you didn't buy the DLC, unlucky really, you don't have access to these legendaries. But if you did buy the DLC, then there is a whole bunch of legendaries. These legendaries honestly aren't, they're most crazy things. Obviously the Cupfu is pretty sick. The Meloetta, in my opinion, is pretty sick. And some of the more hard to get legendaries like Necrozma, Lunala, Solgaleo, those legendaries are pretty sweet to get too because they're more from recent games. But with Pokemon Home, with Pokemon Go, all these legendaries are pretty accessible, and so yeah, I mean, it's not the craziest thing. You're not missing out on the craziest legendaries. These legendaries are also shiny locked. I'm not sure if I mentioned that before, but all of them are, which makes them even less valuable in the sense because it's not a big deal, or like you can't like shiny hunt these or anything, which would make them more valuable. But the game is like, no, we'll just shiny lock them, which I think makes sense for like Meloetta and Cupfu for sure. I think the others can be shiny, but some select ones you probably want to keep shiny locked. Or, I mean, those ones can be shiny locked, the Meloetta and the Cupfu, but for the rest of them, I wouldn't mind them being shiny. So if you can shiny hunt them, it would be a little bit difficult to, for them to be shiny, because like, would you just, I guess every day you just walk up to them and see if they're shiny, and if they're not shiny, you like knock them out or something. I'm not sure how these would even work as shinies. Maybe that's why they didn't make them shiny, or shiny lock them, so they don't need to worry about that. That would have been cool if you run up to them, and if they aren't shiny, you knock them out and wait for the next day. Honestly, if that was the case, it would be very hard to shiny hunt them because you only have one chance a day, as opposed to having more than one chance per day in like a normal circumstance. But yeah, it's a little bit weird. Anyways, we have because Raikou is electric type, and I remembered to bring a Pokemon like Group on it, we are actually gonna just make the Raikou fall asleep and capture it while it's sleeping. Again, I think sleeping is the best stats condition for capturing Pokemon because it makes it so that it's like the stats condition that makes the Pokemon easiest or raises the capture rate the most. I believe, I could be wrong. It would make sense if if it's sleep or, for example, freeze. Those are probably the best. But it's hard to consistently get freeze in this game. I'm not even sure like if there even is a move that consistently freezes. But nevertheless, I also didn't really stock up on much Pokeballs this video. I only have 72, and so I might need to buy more Pokeballs after this encounter. We'll see how the next few encounters go. But yeah, unfortunately with using sleep, the Pokemon will eventually wake up, and so you have to constantly be applying sleep, which is a little bit annoying. But the idea is to increase the capture rate really high. Just keep on chucking them Pokeballs at the Raikou, I suppose. And hooray, we got a capture. Very good. We can go on to the next one. And the next one is going to be Latios. Latios is going to be around here. How do I even get over here? What's the best place? I think it'll be over here. I then have to go backwards. But just add a secret lake, is what Snacksworth said. This is the snake where I'm pretty sure I found like Mimikyus and stuff, so it's like the Mimikyu lake, I call it. when you finally get your Koraidon or Miraidon to like climb walls, I think that's the last ability you get, is for it to be able to climb walls. But once you get the ability to be able to climb walls, it becomes huge, like super strong mobility wise, and this is kind of one of the areas that you kind of get unlocked, or is easier to get to when you're able to climb. Alright. And it should be around here. Sucks that sucks that the game is nighttime, which means I have to like look at these Pokemon at nighttime, or like take these pictures at nighttime. A little bit unfortunate, but that's okay. Actually, I don't think. Yeah, we can just do this, and we're gonna do this. Alright. So, I didn't heal my Pokemons. Does it really matter? No. Okay. Let's go for the Latios capture. Raikou, all things considered, didn't take too long. Again, it's the sleep. The sleep is really good. And also, it used like extra sensory, which is unaffected on my Brute Bonnet, which was pretty convenient. Dragon Pulse. We have a Dragon Pulse user here, so I can always switch into... honestly, if it knows a Psychic move, I would probably rather switch... If it knows a Psychic move, I'd probably rather switch into King Gambit, just because I'm pretty sure Dragon resists, or Steel resists Dragon. So if it knows a Psychic move here, I'll do that. But obviously, if it only knows Dragon moves, then the Fairy Pokemon is the best here to resist its moves. A few more False Swipes though. Get in here. Dragon Breath. So it knows Dragon Pulse and Dragon Breath. That's kind of strange moves. It should know Luster Purge. That's its signature move, but who knows? Alright. I guess we can switch now. Yeah, a lot of these Pokemon, it's like hard to determine how I want to EV train them, because the thing about this game is when you do raids, the EV spread for raids is a lot different, or like Terra raids I should say. Oh, it does know a Psychic move, Zen Headbutt. The EV spread for Pokemon in this game is a little bit weird, because when you do raids, speed doesn't really matter. So it knows 2 Psychic moves and 2 Dragon moves. So yeah, switching to King Gambit probably would have been better. But anyways, yeah, when it comes to doing raids, it's like really weird to what you want to EV train, because speed doesn't really matter in raids. Like obviously, it's good to outspeed your the enemy, so that for example you can like recover or revive, or like recover or life dew, or raise your defense before the opposing Pokemon can attack you. Like it's important to have good speed, but honestly, speed doesn't really matter in raids. And in raids, what really matters is like staying alive, because the more you die in raids, the less time you get in the raid. And so it's actually pretty important to stay alive. And so kind of the best stat distribution for raids, if you're going for an attacker, for Terra raids I should be more specific. For Terra raids, the best stat distribution is like HP and then the attack, special attack or normal attack, depending on what type your damage dealer is. And then for tanks is HP and then like special defense or defense. Or for Alcremie here, actually its stat distribution or its EV distribution, if I recall, is like max in HP, and then the remaining I just split it, or the remaining EVs I have I split into 2, and it's like defense and special defense. So it's like a split tank almost, but like no EVs and attacker speed. And because that's the stat distribution, or for the EV stat distribution for Terra raids, a lot of the Pokemons I have on my save file here have been EV trained for raids. And so normally for a lot of Pokemon here, you would want to do speed and then the attack stat of whatever that Pokemon does for attacks. But for this account, it's a little bit different because I want to train my Pokemon to be good in raids. Even though I don't do that many raids, I still want them to be good in raids. And so I EV train a lot of them in, you know, HP. And it's hard to EV train them in speed because speed is like kind of useless in Terra raids. And so it's like kind of hard for me to even think about EV training the Pokemon on the save file. I think like ideally you'll have like, I'll have like 2 Latios. I mean, I don't think Latios would ever be good in raid, but let's say it is a raid Pokemon or I want to EV train it in raids. I would have like 2. One where I'll just EV train normally in probably special attack and speed, because Latios is like a special sweeper kind of. And then I'll probably have one that's like max special attack and then HP. That's the Latios I would use in raids. But it's hard to have like multiple Pokemon. Pokemon like, for example, King Gambit and Gimmighoul, or not Gimmighoul, but Goldengo. Those Pokemon naturally have low speeds. And so those are naturally good Pokemon to use in raids. You know, Pokemon that naturally have high speeds are also pretty good in raids because you're not going to be training the IV or the EV in speed. Having extra base speed is always nice in raids, so that ensures you go first. But yeah, it's like hard because like the Latios doesn't. It's not the greatest in raids, just because it has so much weaknesses. So a lot of these legendaries that I've been capturing, and a lot of Pokemon in general on this account, it's like I'm not exactly sure how I should EV train them. If I want to EV train them for raids, if I want to EV train them normally. And then there are just some Pokemons that I just never use, and so I don't know how they should be EV trained. Because like Latios is very simple. I just EV train it in speed and special attack and call it a day. But then there are some Pokemon that like their speed isn't too high, their defense is pretty high, and so what, do I want to EV train it in like defense and attack? Or like, you know, I just have a tough time EV training certain Pokemon. For example, like Articuno, like I should search it up on my phone right now what the stat distribution, the normal base stat distribution of Articuno is. Let's see here. We go to Cerebi.com. We'll do this as we try to capture this Latios here. For Articuno, its stat distribution is it has its highest base stat is in special attack, and then its second highest base stat is in special defense. And its base speed is only 95, which isn't super high. And then, so what would I do? Would I want to EV train my... Articuno? Okay, so I for sure want to EV train my Articuno fully in special attack. Make it a strong special attacker. And what would I do with the rest of the stats? Do I train some of it in speed? Some of it in special defense to kind of, you know, highlight that high base stat? Should I EV train it in HP? Because, you know, it has a decent, or Articuno has a decent special defense stat. So should I kind of make it a little bit bulkier, so EV train in HP? Or, and then, you know, its speed stat isn't high, but I want my Articuno to be, you know, a good striker. So should I EV train in attack? Or, I'm sorry, speed? Do I even want to EV train it fully in special attack? Do I want to split it more evenly between, you know, 2 other stats? So for example, perhaps I want to split it, the EVs into 3, so you know, that be maybe special attack, special defense, and speed. Like split everything in 3 instead of maxing out special attack. And so stuff like that is like I have a hard time deciding what I want to do. So even though I like to EV train Pokemon, and I think it's, you know, fun just mass EV training Pokemon, I have a difficult time figuring out like exactly how much I should be EV training certain Pokemon. And also, if I EV train a Pokemon with like a set amount of stats, it becomes hard to figure out like, okay, I want to only put 150 EVs into a certain stat. Well, if I'm EV training naturally, it like, I have to calculate it naturally. And then if I am EV training using like Carbos and Iron, well, that costs money. and so it's like it's a little bit difficult for Pokemon like Articuno at least. I do want to just train all my legendaries, but again, it's a little bit ambitious because it's like a good amount of legendaries here. Although I have EV trained and I'm happy with like a few. For example, my Terapagos and my Ogerpon, I don't see myself ever transferring out of this game, and so I can keep those Pokemons, you know, I can keep their EVs fully in HP. So my Terapagos and my Ogerpon have, you know, max HP EVs, and then the respective attack for Ogerpon and special attack for Terapagos. And then, you know, not every Pokemon on this account needs to be built for raids, and so my Waking Walk and my Iron Leaves, I EV train those in speed because I'm not really committed for those being in raids. That being said though, they're not terrible in raids. They might be a little bit soft, but they're not terrible. Actually, my Iron Leaves, I'm not even sure if I EV trained my Iron Leaves in speed. I think I would have, but I don't exactly remember. So yeah, there's just a few Pokemon that I'm still kind of trying to figure out how I want to EV train them. I could just look online, but online usually just have like competitive builds, and I'm more interested in casual builds. Not that I'll ever use, for example, an Articuno, but it would be nice to just have an EV train for a casual build. Alright, good thing I've been yapping. I was able to capture a lot of Yos here. Next stop is Moltres. And so we'll go here. I want to heal my Pokemon. Moltres. Okay, yeah. This should be pretty simple here. I also want to heal my Pokemon and buy more balls. We need to stock up on balls. I should have did that before I started recording this video, but I forgot. So we'll do it now. Want to at least have like 50 balls per legendary encounter, honestly. Even more would be a little bit better. Alright, I always buy them so that I buy them 10 at a time so I can get Premier Balls. I really should just buy 999 Pokeballs. That would make this a lot easier. But if you guys look at the amount of Premier Balls I have on my account, I think I have gotten a decent amount of Premier Balls from like the item generator, whatever that the thing is called. The item fabricator. So I do have a lot of like Premier Balls, but if you guys just want a Premier Ball check, 245. So yes, I've gotten a decent amount of Premier Balls. I don't think all of those were from, I doubt all of those were from like purchases, but I definitely have bought like 2,000 Pokeballs. Like honestly, 2,000 Pokeballs sounds kind of correct. I have used a ton of Pokeballs this playthrough. Indeed. Okay, where is... I think Moltres is up here. If I looked online correctly, Moltres should be around up here. So we'll check it out. Alright. Think up here. Yes. Again, it's still nighttime, so unfortunately I have to take this picture at nighttime. A little bit lame. But we digress. So, nope, I never get it correct. Moltres. Oh, I should kind of stand further away. Okay. Gotta take my picture with Moltres here. And get the full view. I am making the full circle. I've rotated my joystick the wrong direction. There we go. And we'll look. Because we're up so high, we'll look worried. Because we're about to fall off the cliff. Alright. Pretty simple. Let's go ahead and start the encounter. They did not rerun the Galarian birds, so still you can only get Galarian, Moltres, Zapdos, and Articuno from Pokemon Go, or where they were originally from, the Crown Tundra and Sword and Shield. So I believe those are the only place you can get those, but maybe in AZ you can get more legendary. Yeah, that's actually what I'm curious about, what we're gonna get in AZ. I think in AZ, obviously we're gonna get, you know, Xerneas, Evotino, and Zygarde. That's just a no-brainer. But I believe those were like the only legendaries. And Diancie? Those were the only legendaries that actually, that were actually, I think, made during that generation. And so, we are not gonna get that much new Pokemon. Or I should say, we're not gonna get that many like Kalos legendaries because there weren't that many to begin with. But like I definitely think like for sure we're gonna get the Tapu. So Tapu Koko, Tapu Fini, Tapu Lele. Like for sure we're gonna get those guys because those guys. I don't think those guys have been. I don't think we've been able to capture those aside from Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Like those legendaries are pretty rare, all things considered. And so like I feel like those Pokemon are gonna get something, and I feel like there's a few other things I want to mention here. But let's go ahead and see if we can get another legendary going here. I've gone to 3 legendaries in around 20 minutes, so we could get another one here. Yeah, Moltres was a very fast capture. I've completed 100 solo quests, so I earned myself a Solgaleo treat. That there's a Solgaleo treat. You know Solgaleo, Farfar, that one, and not your run-of-the-mill Pokemon. Speaking of Solgaleo, I do recall this one particular encounter when I was a younger fella. I'd gone to pay Paldea Pokemon League a little visit at that fine building they got there. I was just admiring the structure from the outside when one of the staffers noticed me and invited me in for a better look. They took me up to the observation deck, all done with the logo of theirs. I was looking toward the academy, enjoying the view when the shadow fell across us. And I kid you not, young friend, it was Solgaleo itself. It was only there for a moment before I dashed right off again in a flash, so I couldn't even get in a how do you do. But it was magnificent. It loves that snack you have there, so you might have a shot at meeting it. If you run into old Solgaleo, give it my best. Alright. I think it's pretty obvious where that is, so I might just go ahead and not even look at my look online. Maybe we can try to find Solgaleo together. So it's at the Pokemon League. It's difficult because is it gonna be up high? Is it gonna be down low? I guess yeah, we'll see. So he said that it's like in this direction. So maybe we'll just start off by going on like. Can we climb this? Is that Solgaleo up there? No, that's a light. Can we even climb this building? No, we're not allowed to. Okay. So let's climb up one of these, and then we'll try to find it together here. These birds and these Magnezones, they've been like tripping me up here. Didn't know so much. I didn't know Pokemon even spawned up in these areas, but apparently they do. Okay. So I'm not seeing anything from the Pokemon League itself. Oh, I lied. It's right there. That's a crazy place for Solgaleo. Right on a building. Alright, good thing we found it. Honestly, a lot smaller than I thought it would be. Speaking of Sun and Moon Pokemon, I guess here is the Sun Pokemon. We'll take a quick picture here. And we'll give a smiley face here. Okay. Solgaleo is going to be Steel and Psychic, so False Swipe is going to be a little bit more difficult, but we'll give it a go. I should have enough balls here, so let's go ahead and do this. What was I talking about? Yes, so I think in AZ we're probably going to get either the Lake Trio, like a special form of the Lake Trio, or a special form of the Tapus. Because if you think about it, like a lot of the legendary trios have been getting some attention. So for example, like the Kanto Birds. The Kanto Birds, they got their Galarian form, alright? And then in Gen 2, you think about Raikou, oh wait, no, does this guy no takedown? Uh-oh, wait. Or, how did it damage itself? Wild Charge, okay. This Pokemon might kill itself. I don't have a ground type. And so I probably should go ahead and switch to my bulkiest defense Pokemon so that its Wild Charge doesn't do that much damage to me. So I think Latios might be the best Pokemon here, simply because Wild Charge will be not very effective, and my defense is relatively high here. At this point, I'm just gonna start chucking balls. I know it has a lot of HP, but I'm afraid I'm gonna kill it. So this might be a long chapter here. As long as you guys bear with me here. But yes, in Gen 2, the beast, Raikou, Entei, and Suicune, they got a ancient form. So of course, Walking Wake, Gouging Fire, and Raging Bolt. In Gen 3, the Regis, while the Regis, Regi Ice, Regi Rock, Regi Steel, they didn't get a new form. They had more types of them. So we got Regigigas in Gen 4, and then later on Regieleki and Regidraco in Gen 8, I believe. So the Regis got a form, but in Gen 4, the Lake Trio didn't get a new form. They haven't gotten a new form yet, those Lake Trios. Right, and so potentially there might be a new form of the Lake Trios in, the next AZ game. That would be interesting. In Gen 5, we got Virizion, Terrakion, and Cobalion, which again got their Iron form, the future form, so Iron Leaf, Iron Crown, and Iron Boulder. And then in Gen 6 was special because Gen 6 actually didn't introduce any, didn't introduce a lot of legendaries in general, just the 2 box legendary, Snake, and a Rock, basically. So that game didn't introduce many new legendaries. And then in Gen 7 we got the Tapus, which again the Tapus haven't gotten a second form. And then in Gen 8, I think Gen 8 was similar to Gen 6, where we didn't get any extra legendaries. We got the box legendaries, we got Eternatus. I guess we did get Kubfu, we did get the Brain Guy, the Horses, but we didn't get any the kind of legendary trio or legendary quadruple. And then of course in Gen 9, in this game right here, we got the Ruination Pokemon, the Ruin Pokemon, the 4 Ruination Pokemon. So there's a few things there. I don't know how much my Chilling Waters will do, because I want to damage the Solgaleo, and Chilling Waters will lower its attack, and so its moves would do less damage. It's risky because 2 of its moves is hurting itself. I'm gonna go ahead and do a Chilling Water. Can I do a Heal Pulse on it? Well, Heal Pulse. Oh my god, that did a lot of damage. Okay. Wait, and Chilling Waters didn't even lower its attack. That's crazy. Does Heal Pulse heal Solgaleo? I think it might. Let's see. Oh, it does. Heal Pulse does heal. Okay, so Latios is gonna be good here, because if I need to, I'll heal the Solgaleo when it's really low HP, so that we can try to capture it in this run here. But indeed, I feel like I mentioned, we might get some sort of Lake Trio, new form of the Lake Trio, or new form of the Tapus. Or honestly, I think they should give us more Tapus. Instead of giving us a different Tapu like Coco, they should make more Tapus. I think that would be more interesting. Just give us more totem Pokemon. I think that would be pretty cool too, actually. What I could do is I can just keep on Chilling Waters it to lower its, I think, attack, and then heal it up, and then keep damaging it and healing it up. But at that point, I'll just be wasting my time. I might as well just be chucking balls at it, and eventually it will kill itself. Metal Burst, fail. I think Metal Burst only works if I damage it. Is that how it works? Like a counter, I think. Regardless, we just keep on chucking balls here. Keep on chucking balls. Alright. Yeah, talk a little about AZ though. I think AZ gonna be interesting. because there is... Oh! I've been like tapping on my laptop and I played an ad when I logged into Twitch to see if Sean Garrett was streaming. Alright, perfect. So we got Solgaleo. The video isn't too long here too, so we can go ahead and just talk with Snackworth to get the more legendaries. I don't mind making the video like 35 minutes long, a little bit longer than, 30 minutes is usually where I want to stay at. I don't want to make it too much longer than 30 minutes because then it gets a little bit too long. But I do want to set up for the next video, so we'll talk with Snacksworth to get the next few legendaries going here. So that next video, I don't need to talk to him, I can just go to those locations. I've completed 110 solo quests, earned myself a special snack, I earned myself the restaurant treat. After there's a restaurant treat, you know Restaurant Frightflare, that one, not your run-of-the-mill Pokemon. Speaking of restaurant, I do recall this one particular encounter when I was a younger fellow. See, I saw a restaurant with my own eyes, out near a town that I passed through in Paldea. It was a town where a lot of hardworking folk live, the type that get their hands dirty. I'd climb up in a nice high height to look out upon all the hard work carved in the landscape. I was just remarking to myself what a fine show of effort it was when I seemed to feel a presence behind me, and then when I looked, bam, there was a restaurant right at my shoulder. I figured it must like good old-fashioned hard work too. A lot of snacks you have there, so you might just have tried meeting it too. If you run to old restaurant, you be sure to give it my best. I'm not exactly sure where he's talking about there. I've done 120. I get the Zapdos treat. There's a Zapdos treat. You know Zapdos frightfully rare, that one, not your run-of-the-mill Pokemon. Speaking of Zapdos, I do recall this one particular encounter when I was a younger fella. I was climbing right up to the tippy top of one of those lighthouses you've got in Paldea, and I was taking in the view, looking over a distant city. When, would you believe it, the heavens broke wide open and rain started pouring down on me. I thought I'd better get out of that mess in a hurry, so I turned a head down again. When the whole sky lit up with a huge crash of lightning and Zapdos came flying out of nowhere. It flew right by me, quick as a flash. There's lots of snacks you have there, so you might just have a shot at meeting it too. If you want to old Zapdos, you be sure to give it my best. Alright. Now let's see, chipping away your BBQ. So heavens to Betsy, you completed 130 solo quests. Earned yourself a special snack. Got the Groudon treat. There's a Groudon treat. No Groudon Frightfully rare, that one not your run-of-the-mill Pokemon. Speaking of Groudon, I do recall this one particular encounter when I was a younger fella. I did spy old Groudon once back in the days when I was adventuring around Paldea. You know the huge cave system under that one town? I never can remember the name. Anyway, the name didn't matter except to say that there was a place where I saw the feller. I thought to myself, well, if it ain't Groudon, and gave it one big wave of my arms to say hello. What else are you supposed to do when faced with the continent Pokemon? I asked you. So anyway, I did that. They then showed me its huge, fearsome claws that it did. There are lots of snacks you have there, so you might have a shot at meeting it too. If you run to old Groudon, be sure to give it my best. Oh, well, knock me over like a feather. Looks like you're completely cleared me out of snacks. Simply goes to show how much hard work you've put into those BBQs, Clizzard. I'm afraid I've no more snacks, but please stop by and lend me an ear to my old hairs now and then. Clizzard, back for another round of Old Snackboard Tale of Glory? Yes. Alright, then what Pokemon do you like the huge hammer about? Show me the snack. Oh, this is if you need a reminder of where the Pokemon might be. Okay, so apparently we have all the snacks, which let's compare it to what we have in our PC storage here. Let's go ahead and just cross check. Is what he says right? We'll see. Okay. So I caught 4 of them. Uh oh, where's Solgaleo? Uh oh. Oh gosh. Solgaleo has been sent into the Shadow Realms. I have no idea where it is. So we have... Oh, it's right here. Perfect. Okay. So how do I draw a selection box? Okay. And... I guess I'll do it like this. And then I'll do it like this. And then I'll do it like this. So we have Raikou. We have Moltres. We have Latios. We have Solgaleo. Probably here. And then what do we have? Groudon here. And then we have Zapdos here. Groudon, Zapdos, and what was the last one I have left? Reshiram. So yes. Okay, I think that clears it. Yeah, Reshiram, and then Zapdos and Groudon. And yes, I think at that point I would have all the legendaries from Snacks Worth Legendaries. Metal doesn't count as Snacks Worth Legendaries, but I'm just keeping it here. But yeah, we're almost done with the legendary, guys. One more video for the legendary hunt, and we'll be done. As long as I can capture those legendaries. So thank you so much for watching. You're beautiful the way you are, and I'll catch you in the next video where we'll clear out the rest of the legendaries. Very exciting. Almost there, guys. We're almost there. See you guys then.